Welcome to Digital Marketing School. I'm Simon O'Neill, and today we're talking to Conor Pope from the Irish Times. Conor, this morning you were talking about how online and digital communications improve transparency in price and value for consumers. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, yes and no. I think there's been a degree of improvement in transparency because people can make price comparisons in a much more efficient way now than they could have maybe 10, 15 years ago, because you can compare the prices of everything from supermarkets to health insurance to house insurance, car insurance to almost every different service. You can get the prices online. Also, we can assess in a much more efficient way the prices that people are being charged for these kind of things internationally. And I think inevitably when people see the prices and when people see the prices that are being offered by their competitors, and when people see prices that are being offered by people overseas, it makes them ask questions. And when they ask questions, that forces businesses to become more transparent and to become more open about their pricing structures. So I think the online revolution has dramatically improved the levels of empowerment and knowledge that consumers have at their fingertips. So it has really mattered.
And do you think digital marketing has led to an improvement in customer service?
Whether or not digital marketing has improved to an improvement in the levels of customer service really does depend on the individual companies involved, because some companies get it spectacularly right and some companies get it spectacularly wrong. I mean, one of the realities that we're living in now is that there are more channels of communication, particularly electronic channels of communication today, than there has ever been in the past, because you have email, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have bulletin boards, and you have the traditional methods of communication as well. But the reality is an awful lot of companies set up these various different digital channels of communication and then completely ignore them, because they set them up in a big flush of enthusiasm, and then they realize that there are resource implications here and they don't have the resources to man them. And I think actually that does a huge disservice to companies ultimately, because there's nothing a company will resent, or there's nothing a consumer will resent more than the feeling that they're being ignored. And then there are companies, of course, who get it very, very right, and they open up different streams of communication, and they communicate with their readers or with their audience or with their consumers or potential consumers, and that really works, because it can be an incredibly low-cost, efficient way of doing business.
And have complaints online had an impact on the response time in resolving these complaints?
I think online complaining has had a significant impact on how companies respond, because they have to respond to these complaints. I mean, if I go on to boards.ie, or if I go onto a bulletin board, or if I use any one of the countless forums out there to complain, I'm reaching an audience of potentially thousands, if not millions of people. And companies do not like to see their names being besmirched in that kind of fashion. So the fact that we can complain using the web has empowered consumers to a degree that would have been completely unimaginable 10, 15 or 20 years ago. So I think people need to understand that, and consumers need to use that for their own benefits, and companies need to be aware that they are more exposed today than they have ever been in the past.
And do you think online communications have made it easier for consumers to switch allegiance from one brand to another in search of better value?
I think it's very important to say that digital and online changes have made it much easier for people to switch allegiances, because you can do price comparisons now sitting at your desk at lunchtime. You can go onto the web and you can find out who offers the cheapest health insurance, who offers the cheapest house insurance, where the cheapest groceries are to be found, and you can do all of that online without any problems at all. So I think people are much more empowered now and have much more control over their spending, and I think that's to be welcomed.
Conor, thanks very much for giving us your time this morning and talking to Digital Marketing School.